Today Dung Fu invites you to listen to the Dhammapada, one of the Dharma of Buddha Shakyamuni. The 69th verses from the Buddhist scriptures on the YouTube channel TN Thai in the USA. So long as an evil deed has not ripened, the fool thinks it as sweet as honey. But when the evil deed ripens, the fool comes to grief. The Buddha teaches that unwholesome actions often appear pleasurable at first. The mind, clouded by desire, attachment, or ignorance, perceives the immediate effect of wrongdoing as delightful. Yet, every action carries consequences that arise in time. What seems sweet initially may later become a source of suffering and sorrow. There was once a young man who stole from a neighbor, believing the act harmless. At first, the gain felt satisfying. Days later, fear, guilt, and shame arose, disrupting his peace and relationships. The Buddha emphasizes that unskillful deeds carry delayed consequences. The apparent sweetness fades, and the bitterness of results brings grief. In meditation, observing the mind reveals the subtle attraction to unwholesome acts. Thoughts of anger, greed, or jealousy may appear appealing. Awareness allows the practitioner to see the impermanent nature of such allure. By choosing wisely, one avoids the future suffering caused by actions performed without mindfulness. A Jataka story tells of a young merchant who lied to gain profit. Initially, he rejoiced at his cleverness. Over time, the consequences became evident. Trust was broken, relationships suffered, and inner turmoil arose. The Buddha uses such examples to teach that evil deeds, though seemingly pleasant at the start, ripen into sorrow. Modern life presents similar challenges. A person may cheat, deceive, or act selfishly, perceiving immediate advantage. Gradually, stress, guilt, and regret appear. The short-lived sweetness of wrongdoing is replaced by suffering. Awareness, ethical reflection, and mindfulness prevent these pitfalls, guiding actions toward harmony and well-being. Friends, the essence of this verse is a warning and an encouragement. Awareness of cause and effect allows the mind to discern the consequences of actions before they arise. Unwholesome deeds, no matter how tempting, eventually bring grief. Skillful actions, guided by wisdom and compassion, yield lasting peace and satisfaction. Even small acts of harm or dishonesty have consequences that may not be immediately visible. The mind that acts unmindfully becomes entangled in the ripening of sorrow. Observing intentions, practicing restraint, and cultivating understanding prevents the bitterness that follows unskillful behavior. In daily life, mindfulness transforms ordinary choices into sources of well-being. Pausing before reacting, reflecting on the consequences of words and deeds, and choosing actions guided by awareness prevent harm. Each thoughtful act strengthens relationships, nurtures inner peace, and safeguards the mind from grief. Meditation practice deepens insight into the impermanent nature of pleasure and suffering. Observing thoughts and impulses teaches the practitioner that what seems sweet may ripen into pain. Awareness allows the mind to act skillfully, cultivating kindness, patience, and clarity. Each mindful decision plants seeds of happiness rather than sorrow. The Buddha's teaching emphasizes ethical vigilance. Every action carries potential consequences. The fool, unaware of cause and effect, mistakes temporary pleasure for lasting happiness. The wise, observing the ripening of deeds, acts skillfully, ensuring that the heart remains free from grief and that wholesome fruits arise naturally. Friends, even in challenging circumstances, mindful awareness prevents unwholesome behavior. Impulses toward desire, anger, or envy can be transformed into understanding, patience, and compassion. Recognizing the transient nature of immediate pleasure guides the mind to act with clarity and foresight, avoiding sorrow. The essence of this verse is profound. Unwholesome deeds may appear sweet, but their results bring grief. Awareness, mindfulness, and ethical practice allow the mind to discern the ripening of consequences and to act skillfully. Each thought, word, and action becomes an opportunity to prevent suffering and cultivate lasting peace. So long as an evil deed has not ripened, the fool thinks it as sweet as honey. But when the evil deed ripens, mistakes immediate pleasure for enduring satisfaction. Yet all actions carry consequences. What seems delightful initially can bring deep sorrow when the results arise. Awareness and understanding allow the practitioner to perceive the hidden outcome of each choice. There was a young monk named Pindola who, in his early days, sought praise and recognition. He sometimes exaggerated his accomplishments, believing the attention sweet. Over time, he observed the tension, jealousy, and disapproval that arose around him. The pleasure he had imagined turned to sorrow. Through mindfulness and reflection, he learned to act with honesty and clarity. His heart experienced true delight, free from the bitterness of unwise deeds. Meditation practice reveals the subtle workings of desire and aversion. Thoughts of greed, anger, or pride may seem alluring, yet they carry consequences that will inevitably ripen. Awareness allows the practitioner to pause, observe, and choose actions that are wholesome and skillful. Each moment of mindfulness prevents the suffering that arises from unconsidered deeds. A Jataka story illustrates this teaching. A merchant who deceived others for profit enjoyed temporary gain. Feeling his cunning was sweet, gradually, the consequences became evident. He lost trust, faced conflict, and experienced inner turmoil. The Buddha explains that the short-lived pleasure of unwholesome action inevitably matures into grief, highlighting the importance of careful, ethical conduct. Modern life demonstrates similar patterns. Someone might lie to gain advantage at work or act selfishly in relationships, perceiving immediate benefit. Over time, the results bring stress, mistrust, and regret. The temporary sweetness fades, leaving only sorrow. Ethical reflection, awareness, and mindfulness prevent these harmful outcomes and create conditions for genuine happiness. Friends, the essence of this verse is to cultivate discernment. Understanding the principle of cause and effect allows the mind to avoid actions that will later ripen into suffering. The wise recognize that temporary pleasure derived from unwholesome deeds is illusory, and they choose skillful, mindful action to cultivate lasting peace and joy. Even minor acts of unskillfulness, observing intentions and practicing restraint transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for skillful living. Awareness protects the heart from the grief that arises from unwise deeds. Daily life provides countless occasions for mindful choice. Pausing before responding, reflecting on the potential outcomes of words and actions, and acting with awareness prevent harm. Thoughtful conduct strengthens relationships, nurtures inner peace, and fosters a mind that is free from grief. Meditation practice reinforces this insight. Watching the arising and passing of thoughts cultivates clarity and understanding. By recognizing impulses and responding wisely, the practitioner transforms potential unwholesome acts into skillful deeds. Each choice rooted in mindfulness produces harmony, happiness, and contentment. The Buddha emphasizes ethical vigilance. Every action carries consequences, even if unseen in the moment. The fool, unaware of the ripening of deeds, mistakes temporary enjoyment for true satisfaction. The wise act with foresight and clarity, ensuring that the mind remains free from regret and that wholesome fruits flourish naturally. Friends, even when challenges or temptations arise, awareness prevents unskillful behavior. Desire, anger, and jealousy can be transformed into understanding, patience, and compassion. Recognizing the transient nature of apparent pleasure guides the heart to act with mindfulness, avoiding sorrow and cultivating lasting joy. The essence of this teaching is profound. Unwholesome deeds, though initially sweet, mature into suffering. Mindfulness, ethical practice, and reflection allow the practitioner to perceive the ripening of consequences, choose skillfully, and cultivate enduring peace. Each thought, word, and action becomes an opportunity to prevent grief and nurture happiness. The Buddha teaches that unwholesome actions, when performed without awareness, may seem delightful. The mind, clouded by attachment, craving, and ignorance, often perceives temporary satisfaction as true happiness. Yet every action carries consequences, and what appears pleasurable now may later ripen into pain and regret. Understanding this principle allows the practitioner to act with mindfulness and discernment. There was a monk named Vappa who, in his youth, coveted possessions and recognition. Each time he acted selfishly or spoke harshly, he believed the momentary gain was sweet. Soon, conflicts arose, trust was broken, and inner discomfort filled his heart. Meditation and reflection helped him perceive the consequences of his deeds before they ripened. By choosing wisely, he cultivated contentment and peace, free from the grief of unwholesome acts. In meditation, observing the mind as thoughts arise reveals the hidden allure of unskillful desires. Anger, greed, pride, or envy may appear enticing. But mindfulness allows the practitioner to recognize impermanence. Each impulse is an opportunity to act with clarity, ensuring that the mind and heart are not later burdened by sorrow. Awareness protects the practitioner from the hidden ripening of harmful actions. A Jataka story illustrates this lesson. A young prince, desiring immediate pleasure, took what belonged to another. At first, he enjoyed the thrill of success. Over time, his choices led to conflict, fear, and remorse. The Buddha highlighted such examples to teach that actions rooted in ignorance may seem sweet temporarily, but eventually bear bitter fruit. Ethical awareness and mindful conduct prevent this sorrow from arising. Modern life offers similar challenges. A person may cheat at work, lie to a friend, or act selfishly. Believing immediate gain is desirable. Soon, anxiety, mistrust, and guilt emerge, replacing the initial sense of satisfaction. By practicing awareness, ethical reflection, and restraint, one avoids the grief that naturally follows unwholesome behavior. Mindful action transforms life into a path of clarity, peace, and joy. Friends, the essence of this verse is clear. Recognizing cause and effect, the practitioner avoids actions that will later ripen into suffering. The fool mistakes short-term pleasure for happiness, while the wise perceive the consequences of every choice and act with mindfulness. Skillful deeds, performed with attention and compassion, bring lasting delight and prevent sorrow. Even minor lapses in mindfulness carry consequences. Careless words, unrestrained thoughts, or small acts of harm may produce suffering that is not immediately apparent. Observing intentions, practicing restraint, and cultivating compassion transform ordinary moments into opportunities for skillful living. Awareness protects the heart from grief and nurtures genuine satisfaction. Daily life is filled with chances to practice this teaching. Pausing before reacting, reflecting on potential outcomes, and choosing actions with awareness prevent harm. Each mindful gesture strengthens relationships, nurtures inner calm, and cultivates enduring joy. Awareness ensures that the mind remains free from regret and sorrow. Meditation deepens insight into the impermanence of pleasure and suffering. Observing the arising and passing of thoughts cultivates clarity, discernment, and ethical understanding. Acting from patience, generosity, and compassion transforms potential unwholesome actions into skillful deeds. Each decision rooted in mindfulness brings harmony, contentment, and delight. The Buddha emphasizes vigilance in ethical conduct. Every action, even seemingly insignificant, has the potential to produce consequences. The fool, unaware of cause and effect, mistakes fleeting pleasure for true happiness. The mindful practitioner acts with discernment, ensuring the mind remains free from grief and the fruits of deeds are wholesome and enduring. Friends, even in challenging circumstances, awareness prevents unwholesome behavior. Impulses toward desire, anger, or pride can be transformed into patience, understanding, and compassion. Recognizing the impermanence of temporary pleasure allows the mind to act wisely, avoiding sorrow and cultivating lasting joy. The essence of this teaching is profound. Unwholesome deeds, although they seem sweet at first, inevitably ripen into suffering. Mindfulness, ethical reflection, and compassion enable the practitioner to perceive the consequences of actions and act skillfully. Each thought, word, and deed becomes an opportunity to prevent grief and nurture happiness, both for oneself and for all beings. There was a disciple named Subhuti who, in his early days, acted with desire for praise and recognition. When he performed unmindful deeds, he felt momentary delight. Later, the consequences ripened, misunderstandings arose, relationships became strained, and regret filled his heart. Meditation and reflection helped him cultivate awareness and choose skillful action. His heart became light, and the sweetness of wholesome deeds replaced the bitterness of sorrow. In meditation, observing the arising of impulses, thoughts, and emotions shows the transient nature of temptation. Desires and aversions may appear attractive, yet they carry consequences that will manifest in time. Awareness allows the practitioner to intercept unwholesome actions before they ripen. Mindful attention transforms ordinary choices into opportunities for skillful conduct and inner peace. A Jataka story illustrates this teaching. A young prince stole fruit from a neighbor, enjoying the taste and the thrill of the act. Later, fear, shame, and conflict arose. The Buddha highlighted such stories to teach that actions rooted in ignorance may appear sweet initially, but inevitably bring grief when the results manifest. Mindfulness, ethical reflection, and compassion prevent this suffering. Modern life provides daily examples. Someone may act dishonestly in business, cheat in examinations, or speak harshly to gain advantage. At first, the benefit may seem gratifying, but over time, anxiety, mistrust, and regret appear. Mindful living, guided by awareness and reflection, ensures that choices align with wisdom and compassion, preventing the ripening of sorrow. Friends, the teaching encourages discernment. Awareness of cause and effect allows the mind to act with foresight. The fool mistakes fleeting pleasure for happiness, while the wise recognize the consequences of actions and cultivate skillful conduct. Ethical choices bring lasting delight and prevent grief. Even minor acts of unskillfulness have consequences that may not be immediately evident. Careless words, thoughtless behavior, or selfish decisions sow seeds of future sorrow. Mindful observation of intentions and restraint transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for harmonious living. Awareness protects the heart from regret and nurtures genuine satisfaction. In daily life, mindfulness transforms ordinary actions into skillful deeds. Pausing before speaking, reflecting on the impact of choices, and responding with care prevent harm. Each deliberate action strengthens relationships, cultivates inner calm, and produces lasting contentment. Awareness ensures that the mind remains free from grief and sorrow. Meditation deepens understanding of impermanence. Observing thoughts, emotions, and impulses cultivates insight and clarity. By acting from patience, generosity, and compassion, potential unwholesome deeds are transformed into skillful action. Each choice rooted in awareness brings harmony, satisfaction, and joy. The Buddha emphasizes ethical vigilance. Every act carries consequences. The fool, unaware of the ripening of deeds, mistakes short-lived pleasure for happiness. The mindful practitioner acts with discernment, ensuring the heart remains free from sorrow, and the fruits of conduct are wholesome and enduring. Even amidst challenges, awareness prevents unskillful behavior. Impulses toward anger, pride, or desire can be transformed into understanding, patience, and compassion. Recognizing the fleeting nature of apparent pleasure allows the mind to act wisely, avoiding grief and cultivating lasting joy. The essence of this verse is profound. Actions that seem sweet may ripen into suffering if performed without mindfulness. Awareness, ethical reflection, and compassion allow the practitioner to foresee consequences and act skillfully. Each thought, word, and deed becomes an opportunity to prevent sorrow and nurture happiness, both for oneself and for all beings. The Buddha teaches that unskillful actions, though appearing pleasing in the beginning, inevitably produce sorrow. The mind, clouded by desire, attachment, or ignorance, perceives temporary gain as happiness. Yet all deeds carry consequences. What seems delightful in one moment may bring grief when the results arise. Awareness allows the practitioner to perceive these consequences and act with wisdom and care. A disciple named Ananda once acted with impatience, speaking harshly to a fellow monk. At first, he felt relief and satisfaction, thinking he had defended his own position. Soon, however, tension arose, hurt feelings appeared, and inner discomfort filled his heart. Observing his thoughts in meditation, he recognized the ripening of the deed and its consequences. By practicing mindfulness, restraint, and compassion, he prevented similar mistakes in the future, experiencing genuine peace and understanding. In meditation, observing the arising of intentions reveals the impermanence and subtle danger of unwholesome inclinations. Anger, greed, pride, and envy may appear tempting, yet mindfulness shows their transient nature and eventual consequences. Awareness allows one to act skillfully, preventing sorrow and cultivating harmony and delight in both mind and heart. A Jataka story illustrates this teaching beautifully. A young merchant, seeking immediate profit, deceived a neighbor. The initial pleasure of cunning and gain felt sweet as honey. Over time, fear, conflict, and remorse arose. The Buddha emphasized such examples to teach that unwholesome deeds, although seemingly enjoyable at first, inevitably bear bitter fruit. Mindfulness and ethical reflection prevent such suffering. Modern life provides daily opportunities to practice this teaching. A person may act selfishly or dishonestly in work or relationships, perceiving short-term benefit. Gradually, anxiety, guilt, and regret emerge. Mindful living, grounded in awareness, restraint, and ethical consideration, ensures that actions are wholesome, creating lasting satisfaction and peace. Friends, the essence of this verse is to cultivate discernment and foresight. Understanding cause and effect allows the mind to act skillfully. The fool mistakes temporary pleasure for enduring happiness, while the wise recognize the potential consequences of each choice. Actions guided by mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom bring lasting delight and prevent grief. Even minor lapses in mindfulness can produce consequences. Careless words, thoughtless decisions, or small acts of harm sow seeds of future suffering. Observing intentions, practicing patience, and cultivating understanding transform ordinary moments into opportunities for skillful living. Awareness protects the heart from regret and nurtures contentment. Daily life offers countless occasions to practice this Dharma. Pausing before responding, reflecting on the potential impact of words and actions, and choosing deeds with care prevent harm. Each deliberate and mindful choice strengthens relationships, cultivates inner calm, and fosters enduring joy. Awareness ensures that the mind remains free from sorrow and that wholesome fruits naturally arise. Meditation deepens insight into the impermanence of pleasure and suffering. Observing thoughts, emotions, and impulses cultivates clarity, discernment, and ethical understanding. Acting from patience, generosity, and compassion transforms potential unwholesome deeds into skillful conduct. Each moment of mindfulness nurtures harmony, satisfaction, and delight. Even in moments of challenge or temptation, awareness prevents unskillful behavior. Impulses toward desire, anger, or pride can be transformed into understanding, patience, and care. Recognizing the fleeting nature of apparent pleasure allows the heart to act wisely, avoiding grief and cultivating lasting joy. The Buddha emphasizes ethical vigilance. Every action carries consequences, even if unseen in the present. The fool, unaware of cause and effect, mistakes fleeting pleasure for true satisfaction. The mindful practitioner acts with clarity and foresight, ensuring that the mind remains free from grief and that the fruits of deeds are wholesome, harmonious, and enduring. Friends, the essence of this teaching is profound. Unwholesome deeds, although appearing sweet initially, inevitably ripen into suffering. Mindfulness, ethical reflection, and compassion enable the practitioner to foresee consequences and act skillfully. Each thought, word, and action becomes an opportunity to prevent sorrow and cultivate happiness for oneself and for all beings. Thank you for watching my video. Namo Amitabha. I wish to bring this merit towards all disciples and sentient beings, all of whom will attain Buddhahood. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate your time.